initiating woman, revealing the goddess within. In the tantric tradition, the woman, or Shakti, as it is said in Sanskrit, is given the central role, being considered the initiatress on the spiritual path. All ancient culture based on the esoteric foundation lost in the mists of time have traditions that praise the initiating power of women. Egypt, Greece, Arabia, Tibet and China all share this fundamental belief. But what does it mean in practice to be an initiating woman? First of all, this role implies that the woman should be uncompromising, because true spiritual evolution begins when we stop making compromises. The uncompromising attitude is the necessary basis for a state of responsibility towards one's own spiritual evolution, but also towards those that are around us, and especially those that we decide that we would like to guide on this spiritual path. Not to compromise means that we have a very well-developed system of moral and ethical values, or as they are called in the yoga traditions, yama and niyama, or the ethical and moral codes, because they offer us a model worth following. The initiating woman is the one who implements this code in her daily life. When you decide you want to reveal the goddess within, you can decide to discover actually how a goddess is like. Of course, it's logic. So let's do this visualization exercise together and ponder upon the qualities that an initiating woman needs to develop and manifest in order to be like a goddess. So here are some of these wonderful qualities that an initiating woman will start developing within so that she can awaken and reveal the goddess within. Sense of humor. It is a formidable weapon against the ego and against the tendency to take ourselves too seriously. An unshakable self-confidence. And it is about trusting the self within us and not trusting the personality, or it's not about just being confident. An iron will which allows us not to deviate from the spiritual path. Adaptability to the mysterious flow of life. Modesty, patience, kindness, goodness, goodwill, spontaneity, playfulness, the ability to give. A divine law says that you always have what you give. Control of energies, and not only control of the sexual erotic energies, but control of our mental energies, control of our emotional energies. An unlimited ability to experience elevated forms of orgasm. The ability to love without measure, empathy, compassion, purity, gratitude, hope, delicacy, intuition, refinement, an aesthetic sense, intelligence, wisdom, mental flexibility and emotional stability, knowledge and understanding of spiritual laws, and also how to implement these laws in our daily life. We also need to develop a deep knowledge of human nature, humbleness, spiritual aspiration, a huge power of spiritual assimilation. Also, taking responsibility for our own spiritual evolution, and another quality, inner freedom to live here and now. And these are only a few of the qualities you understand that you need to develop when you want to become an initiating woman, but also to reveal the goddess within. So to be an initiating woman implies being impeccable in what you are, and therefore implicitly in what you do. So therefore, here we can come with a quote which says, "A gram of practice is worth tons of theory. It's not enough just that we know that we need all these qualities. We know what an initiating woman is like. We know that we would like to reveal the inner goddess. We need to put all of this in practice so that we can achieve it. So, an initiating woman also involves manifesting a certain mystery and magic as a Shakti, so that you manifest yourself as a goddess as much as possible. So for a deep understanding of what Shakti's mystery and magic means, let's dive into the esoteric meaning of it. In a direct sense, mystery is what not to be communicated, what is to be kept silent, or in other words, what is forbidden to be revealed outside the initiating circles or the initiates group. The second meaning of the word mystery designates what is to be received in a state of profound transfiguration, silence, and recollection, or, in other words, what is not to be described to anyone or disclosed. But there is a third meaning, the deepest of this term. The mystery actually designates an inexpressible, which, due to its extraordinary depth and complexity, can only be contemplated in silence. Magic means, in a common acceptance, the totality of procedures, formulas, gestures, and so on, through which certain supernatural forces can be invoked in order to produce miracles. It also means irresistible power of attraction or fascination, charm, delight. In a third sense, magic is the creative, beneficial act, springing from the Divine Supreme in a state of perfect consciousness, in which the one who performs this act is a master or a mistress of energy control and a knower of God's will. So the state of mystery that Shakti and the inner goddess in us inspires is given primarily by our continuous awareness of our connection with God. That is why its manifestation is magical, omnipotent, fascinating, and divine. On a human scale, the magic and mystery within the woman, aware of her connection with God, transforms her into the initiating woman of whom Tantra speaks. It transforms her into a true goddess. Being an initiating woman means that when you have assumed this role, it already implies that you have developed, at least to some extent, the inherent qualities. You also assume the responsibility to manifest it in your interactions with all people. We will not be just goddesses at home. We need to manifest this inner state of a goddess with all the people that we meet, and especially, of course, those who deserve it. And it implies, among other aspects, a great power of sacrifice, in which personal routines and taboos need to be reprioritized. It also implies a constant attention in order to be able to direct the energies on the right path, and a great power to forgive. The initiating woman accepts reality as it is, without superimposing mental patterns on it. She knows that she does not have the perspective of God. That is why she lives and accepts the present moment exactly as it is, and that is why she does not self-delude herself, denying reality. The initiating woman has the courage and the ability to make and receive constructive criticism. She is the one who, being constantly attentive to what is happening within and to what it is happening to other persons that she interacts with, eliminates from the roots the fight of the egos which is unfortunately the defining characteristic of most ordinary relations, whether friends relations or couple relations. What characterizes the initiating woman is that she never indulges herself in remaining on the same spiritual level, but she is in a continuous transformation process. Therefore, as soon as she notices that imbalances appear in her subtle structure, she acts immediately to eliminate them. She lets herself be guided by her own beneficial fundamental needs, like, for example, the fundamental needs to be happy, to love, to be healthy. And she does not make useless, egotistical efforts. She strives to awaken her soul, even if this is not always easy or pleasant. Awakening the soul is not always a dance of rose petals. And she has a great self-respect and a great power of detachment coming from the understanding that she is a spark of God. Many strong women complained that they can't find the men to match them, but there are not as many women who take the issue seriously and assume the responsibility for being the initiating woman who assists and brings up spiritually the beloved man in order to raise him at the same level. The first rule when you decide you will do that is to do it with love. And the last rule is to be yourself a role model. And in between these two polarities, there are some small, let's say, tricks. So here comes some practical advice on training and assisting men spiritually. The first aspect we need to keep in mind is that the man has a sensitivity as complex as the woman's. So lecturing him will not bear fruits. Teach him by telling him about others at the right time, with lots of tact, humor, like with your best friends. Act in such a way that he comes to you to ask for your advice. If he feels great when he's with you, he will want to know what to do to maintain those states. The success you have as a spiritual woman will attract him and he will want to achieve it too. Do not treat him with superiority. If you truly love him, you will be patient with him and you will know how to make him feel like a man. Transfigure him continuously and constantly, but be very careful that what he manifests now, especially in the less good parts, so you will not be taken by surprise. People tend to fabricate an image of the other, which is seldom identical with reality, and tend to live with the image, instead of doing everything in their power to discover the other one as the other one actually is. And what happens when reality does not match the image? Well, we suffered. So don't be fooled. Pay attention to his actions, not his words. Do not accept any compromises, such as, let's not do the consecration right now because my spontaneity is lost. In such situations, you must show divine verticality. Show patience, understand that each person has his speed of reaction and his pace of evolution, so don't force it, it will not work nevertheless. Show a lot of compassion and understanding, but also intervene when it comes to laziness and not just a slow pace. When you love, you know. You know what to do, how to do it, how much to do it. So love endlessly. Do not put the man before God in your life. Many women begin their relationship with the man they love as the initiating woman, and then they get lost in it as a housewife. Remember that being an initiating woman means sacrificing your personal desires, egotistical involvement, and also giving freedom to the man that you love and that you are with from the beginning to end. After all, don't train him for you. Don't assist him spiritually for you. Do it for him. It is absolutely necessary to realize that freedom is an understood necessity. You have taken on this role to do God's will, not to do your own will. Remember that you choose, especially choose how to react. We cannot always change the situations we are in, but we can always change our reaction to that situation. A proverb says that it's not so important what happens to me, what really important is how I choose to react to what happens to me. Therefore, when the man does a blooper, remember that you can choose not to suffer, but to simply acknowledge that he behaved without wisdom or without affection, and that's it. Do not enter a relationship with a man just for the sake of adventure. Instead, manifest spiritual maturity. Remember that the man you are about to complain about is a manifestation of Shiva, the universal masculine principle. In order to mold a man spiritually, you need to polarize him. That is why it is necessary to be super feminine and wise in the same time. Be without pride. Remember that God does it through you, so there is no merit to take upon yourself. And also here comes some practical advice in training and assisting women spiritually, especially if you have the role of a spiritual teacher or a spiritual guide, in no matter what forms it might take. First of all, it is absolutely necessary to love the woman, to feel the state of solidarity with other women, not to feel envy, not to be in a competition mode. Help them to love and accept themselves as they are. In order to mold the woman spiritually, you also need to polarize her. So your background needs to be Shivic, so manifesting the universal masculine principle, the consciousness. So you need to be super conscious in order to keep the direction of evolution. And at the same time, you need to be an example of femininity, to be her sister, to be her friend. This is a hypostasis of the woman who awakens her glorious androgynous state. Encourage women to develop self-confidence in addition to the other qualities, because many women have a precarious state of self-confidence, and without this confidence, they will have a hard time in developing any other qualities. Make women understand the game of polarities. In the current era, there is a lot of depolarization due to the fact that people no longer really understand what is archetypal role of a woman and the archetypal role of a man. That is why we see many masculinized women and many effeminate men. Without an understanding and assimilation of these two fundamental roles, one cannot speak of a true spiritual evolution. Help women understand the difference between being an open woman and being an easy woman. Encourage developing women the spirit of being sisters with other women. Cut from the roots the competition and envy between women. Help women understand the need for modesty and dignity. So from these examples, it's clear that the formidable power of an awakened woman to initiate is enormous. This enigmatic power, the highest form of Shakti, is a direct expression of open intuition. It is also an energy of wisdom, spontaneous, cheerful, which can quickly remove all boundaries and inhibitions. Such a woman can boldly initiate others into the spiritual experience. Success then lies in pure spontaneity, in her ability to have self-confidence, to focus strongly on high ideals, in her sincere aspiration to offer something special and unforgettable, in her being in tune with the inner goddess. The huge self-confidence is an essential condition in all initiating rituals and the goddess within any woman, who is awakened by the process of transfiguration, because she's the one who then initiates. Conscious connections with the subtle worlds, intuition, harmonious integration, resonance with the mind of God, conscious self-suggestion are all ways that give us this status of Shakti full of mystery, which manifests herself magically by revealing the goddess within. When you feel that the universe is the ground for the divine game of life, you have crossed the threshold to the world of magic. The conscious Shakti, constantly attentive to the breath of God that manifests through her towards the world, becomes magical herself because it transposes the mystery of God into creation. Such a woman becomes the hand, the eye, the mouth of the Supreme Divine, animating creation with supreme energy. The woman who awakened her inner goddess is permanently in love with God. She lives through and for her Supreme Beloved. All the magic she pours into the world is her love hymn offered to God. This is also the state of the initiating woman. Being in love with life is the secret gateway to Parashakti, or the Supreme Eternal Feminine, and implicitly to God. To be in love with the beauty of the sunrise, the dewdrops, the rain that caresses the earth, the beauty of nature, the people around, the breath that enters and leaves the lungs, everything you touch, taste, smell, see and think is the reflection of Shakti's soul, eternally in love, the revealed goddess within. The force of love is a colossal force. An initiating woman in love can create universes. She creates life. When we have an awakened soul and a loving heart, the deep mystery reveals God to us in all that exists as an eternal miracle. This deep state of adoration of life, of immeasurable love for what is alive, contains all the magic of the universe. It is no coincidence that infinite love makes the impossible easily possible. In this magical way of living, being open to mystery, you see the sacred in the profane. You see the sacred in what is apparently profane. The smile of the initiating woman is always mysterious because she intuits the secrets of the universe. Recalling the states of love and affection we have ever felt, we keep our soul awake and young, and at the same time we emanate around us the mysterious fire of love, this fundamental energy of the universe. The only luggage we take with us when we leave this world is the deep and full experience of love. And every experience of love is unique and unrepeatable. Magical and mysterious is the woman in whose heart God reigns, because He then puts at her feet the entire universe as a space for her enchanting game. Such a woman has the power to induce the aspiration to transform. She emulates everything with her presence. Her permanent state is the one of "Thy will be done, God," because she resonates with the heart of God. When the initiating woman who awakened her inner goddess magically manifests, her state of consciousness is the cosmic orgasm. Then her power to initiate is limitless. I hope that this will encourage you to reveal the goddess within and to manifest as an initiating woman. All the love to you.